Marine Parks and Reserves Tanzania is a government institution with a mandate to establish and manage marine protected areas through conservation. Set aside by law to establish strong management for the protection, preservation and restoration of biodiversity, ecosystems for the sustainable use of marine and fishery resources such as fish, corals, mangroves and seagrass.
We have 4 centers that are managing these marine and coastal resources. One is based in the northern part of Tanzania, Tanga Coastal Marine Park. And then we have an island in Mafia. This is in the southern part of Tanzania. And this is the oldest and the main marine park that we have. It started since 1995. Its operation until now, and it's the one that is ensuring that coastal and marine resources are well sustaining the fisheries sector within the country. So it's the core area of fishing, ensuring fishing resources are sustained. And then we have another part in the southern part of Tanzania. It's called the Mtwara area. This area is harboring a special coastal and marine resources within our countries because it's an area that is still pristine in terms of the resources that we have. We have vast mangrove cover, seagrasses and coral reefs, as well as we have the presence of whales that are migrating from the southern parts to the northern part of Africa. So it's quite an area that we are really proud of as an institution. And then we have a marine reserve system within the urban area set up here in Dar es Salaam that has several islands that are quite popular to the youth that visits these areas during the weekend for the touristic and leisure activities within the area.
Conservation of marine areas began in the 1970s through the Fisheries Law No. 6 of 1970, and its management was under the Department of Fisheries. In 1994, the government of Tanzania, through the parliament, enacted the law on marine reserves and protected areas No. 29 of 1994, reference of 2009 Chapter 146, which established the division of marine reserves and isolated areas for the establishment, management, monitoring and the development of marine reserves. In tackling the effects of climate change, Marine Parks and Reserves Tanzania plays a vital role in the restoration and the protecting of marine resources.
Oceans have a very big and a good role in mitigating the effects of the climate change. Why does ocean have that attribute? It is because in the ocean we have vast of seagrasses, vast of mangroves and vast of corals. We, the Marine Park and the Reserves Tanzania, we conserve more than 2,000 square kilometers of the protected areas. And in that, we have seagrasses, we have corals, and we have the mangroves. The main problem is sometimes human have interference with that. Among the major roles that we, Marine Park and the Reserves Tanzania, we do is to make sure we conserve the pristine nature of those critical habitats. Also, if it appears that the area has been destroyed, we make sure that we restore the situation to its original.
In the Division of Marine Reserves and Parks, we currently manage 18 marine protected areas in the Indian Ocean, covering an area of approximately 2,000 square kilometers. The reserved areas are allocated based on the presence of biodiversity and rare ecosystems, which are critical habitats, as well as implementing sustainable international conservation goals. Among other things, the marine parks and reserves have been a major tourism attraction here in Tanzania. With a great contribution from tourism revenues, our conservation efforts have been supported enormously.
Marine Parks and Reserves Tanzania has brought a balance between the community and the conservation through different things. For example, actually we do conservation with the help of the community. We are doing co-management. We include the communities in managing the marine protected areas. communities are involved in surveillance and patrol, but also these community members are doing tourism within marine protected areas. They have restaurants, they have boats which are carrying tourists around these reserves and parks. But also these communities have direct benefit. They have a share from what we get from tourism. For example, when we get money from tourism, there's a share that goes to the community. But also in these areas, actually what we do, we give environmental education to these communities, but through also recycling of the material which are found in these areas, the community get also some employment. There are community members who come and they collect waste which may appear around the parks or reserves, and they recycle this waste so that we can avoid pollution of marine protected areas, so that the ecosystem is not affected. So actually the community has a big contribution towards conservation, but also they benefit a lot from conservation. We work together day and night to make sure that everything that is done in the marine protected area is known to the community, is known to the outside world.
Marine Parks and Reserves Tanzania have been closely working with local communities to conserve and protect these areas. This makes it possible to bring a balance between nature and human economic activities.
Budia Conservation Group ni kikundi ambacho kinajihusisha na uhifadhi na utoaji huduma wa chakula kwa watalii ambao wanatembelea kwenye hifadhi. Haya maeneo tengefu ya hapa Dar es Salaam kwa ujumla yana manufaa makubwa kwa jamii, hususan wavuvi, maana kuna hifadhiwa vitu vingi ambavyo vinapelekea uwepo wa mazalia ya samaki. Maeneo tengefu yanatunufaisha kwa maana ya kipato kwanza kwenye maisha yetu, kuendesha familia zetu, maana ndo maisha yetu kwa ujumla. Marine Park tunashirikiana nao kwa ukaribu zaidi, hususan unapotokea swala la wavuvi haramu, hususan wapiga baruti, wanatusaidia. Tunapotoa taarifa wanakuja kwa wakati, na tunapokuwa na matatizo ya vitu vya usafi na nini, tunashirikiana nao kwa ukaribu zaidi. Changamoto ni kwamba hususan kwa watalii wanaokuja ni uchafu, yani kubeba vitu kama hivi plastiki na nini kuleta huku maeneo ya kisiwani. Hiyo ni changamoto kubwa sana. Tunajaribu kuwaelimisha watu kwamba, kwa sababu sisi tunatoa huduma ya vyakula hapa na vinywaji, ili wasipate kuja na Marine Park wametusaidia hilo, na wao tumeweka watu ambao wa kuelimisha kule kwenye vituo.
Marine Parks and Reserves Tanzania also have pristine areas for investments through the presence of various sites, including island reserves and the underwater exploration.
So we are calling upon investors, those interested, to work within the marine parks and reserves areas, because we have a vast amount of potential areas that one can invest in. One of the activities that one can invest on in tourism sector within coastal and marine resources within the marine parks is having eco-lodges that can host different visitors, both local and from those coming from abroad. You can have beach sports, sports fishing activities, and so forth. The second activity that one can invest within our parks area is fisheries activities. Either it can be for domestic or commercial or sports fishing within our area. We are based in areas that are core zones for fisheries resources that boosts the different types of varieties of fisheries products within our waters. So our waters are very rich in fisheries resources, so we can go in partnership with whoever has interest in this sector. Being in areas that are said to be pristine and their ecological and ecosystems are well balanced, It's also a living lab that one can carry out research as well as other related academic activities. So it's an area that one can carry out such activities. The third area that our marine parks and reserve areas are hosting is the heritage and cultural sites. So one can invest in that kind of tourism for those who are interested in that particular sector, as well as in ensuring that the coastal cultures and historic sites are well preserved. So we can also partner with whoever has an interest in that field.
We visualize on ensuring that Tanzania's marine reserves becomes a source of joy and pride for all of us. We work tirelessly on one mission, which is establishing and managing marine protected areas in Tanzania for sustainable use.
Marine Parks and Reserves Tanzania aims at a sustainable, well-governed blue resources for both social and economic gain, as well as in addressing climate change challenges. To realize this, Marine Parks and Reserves Tanzania welcomes you to join us in this opportunity. Karibu.